Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is 4 o'clock, 4:01 to be exact. I'm Maria, and welcome to another edition of Mom to Mom. I am live from the ever so hot mom cave. It is approximately 110 degrees here in Boston today. It is so hot. And if you're new to the show, we do this broadcast from the only place where I can hide from my children, and that is my attic. So I've turned it into a little mom cave, and we have done some incredible shows from here. It's always real. We talk about all kinds of different things. It's a conversation between two moms, but more importantly, it's an interactive show. So you all are a part of this. So please chime in, send your comments, send your questions. Towards the end of the show, I've got some fun videos to show you, and I want you to weigh in. And I also think you're going to absolutely love my guest today. I think we have so much to learn from her. She's a dynamo. She's dynamic. She's got so much going on in so many different areas that I don't even know which direction this is going to go. So maybe you all can help me. Hi, Raylene. Hi, Paul. Hi, Latoya. I'm seeing all you guys in the chat. So please keep the comments coming, and I'll check back with you often. Hi, Chris. All right, so let me introduce you to our guest today. I'm so excited to introduce you to Janice Robinson-Celeste. So if you don't know Janice, she is the founder of Successful Black Parenting magazine, and really interesting story there. It is the first national magazine ever for Black parents. Back in the 90s, she was looking at magazines and thought, you know what? None of these speak to me. So she made her own. She's an entrepreneur. She's an author. She's an early childhood specialist. She's a mom of three. She's a grandma, our first grandma on Mom to Mom. And she happens to be the mom of a supermodel. I told you, she's got a lot going on.
Hi, Maria.
Hey.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for that introduction. That was wonderful.
You're a tough person to introduce because you actually have so many things going on.
Well,
so that's
busy.
A good thing.
I do stay busy.
All right. So I gave you the big introduction, but tell me where you sit today. What's going on in your world? Where are you joining us from even?
I am in Los Angeles, sunny California. And what's going on today is that like I said, I really stay busy. We have the magazine, which is a job on its own, all by itself. I have a animation company, which does ethnic animations is the name of it. So it does exactly as its namesake. We do ethnic animations that show a diverse audience as lead characters in cartoons for kids. I have SBP Publishing, which publishes our children's books. Two of them I have written myself. In the future, we're going to add on new authors. So I stay busy, to say the least. I rarely sleep. I rarely get to look at television. I'm always working. That's one thing about me. Anyone who knows me will tell you that you call me up, what are you doing? I'm working.
Obviously, you have an entrepreneurial mindset. And that's something I definitely want to tap into, because I think a lot of women right now and a lot of moms are having to shift. Given everything that's going on with the pandemic, maybe we have to leave our traditional jobs and go chase, that passion project or start a small business. So that's something that you did. What advice do you have for women who are looking to start something of their own?
Well, do something that you love, something you know well, something that you're good at. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone, though. So you got to also recognize that it's not easy to be an entrepreneur. You have your times that where you're up and times when you're down, times when you have a paycheck, times when you do not have a paycheck. So you have to be prepared and ready for all of those things. It's very rare for an entrepreneur to go out there and just hit it right off the spot and make a lot of money. That's rare. Most businesses take up to 3 years to start making any kind of a profit. So be ready for that. My goal is to have multiple streams of income so that I don't put my eggs all in one basket to make a living, basically. So if I can do that, that's best. For me, entrepreneurship has been in my veins since I was a young girl, when my dad told me that he wouldn't give me more than $5 for an allowance. And I had to go out and make my own money. And I started with, like every other kid, a lemonade stand. And I started in front of my home. No one was buying lemonade. I was getting really upset as a kid. So what I did was put everything in the wagon and I took it to the basketball courts, and I made money. So much money that my parents feared for me being in West Philadelphia, because that's where I was raised. And it was not such a safe neighborhood. It was okay back then, but they really worried about me because I came home. I was selling cups of lemonade, big cups, for $1 each. And I had a bankroll when I returned home. So they actually told me I couldn't do it anymore. But then I started sweeping pavements for older people in the neighborhood. And I did that for several years just to make my own money. And that was important to me. And even though I had no one in my immediate family that were entrepreneurs, I just had it somehow, and had to often fight my parents about it because they were like, get a real job, So I was like,
you were born with it in many ways.
Right.
I'm laughing so hard because I did the exact same thing.
Did you?
And if my best friend, she often is in this chat, Jessie, we had a lemonade stand, and again, no one was coming. And same thing, I said, we need to put this thing on wheels. And there was a construction site down the road. Wheeled that baby over there, and the money started rolling in. I love that. So tell us about the origins of Successful Black Parenting Magazine. I think the story is incredible, that you didn't have what you were looking for. So you found someone to help you and you made it yourself.
Right. Well, it wasn't just me. I was working for Children's Hospital, and I was the parent educator and early childhood specialist. So what I did was we had to meet with parents and educate them and help them to meet certain milestones with their kids. And they were mostly African-American parents. So I would pull out articles from Parents Magazine and try to teach it. And they said, no, we don't parent like that. And so I said, I know exactly what you mean. So I started writing my own articles. And then someone who I befriended at work, who was a social worker, said, hey, you need to make this into a magazine. And naive as I was, I said, yeah, let's do that. You want to help me? And for 2 years, we researched how to put together a magazine. We had a mentor who had done it and was doing it actively. And we, after 2 years, fiddled around and we had a magazine. And it did really well as far as with the people. It took about a year before major advertisers came on board, because they were like, well, who are you? We're not Oprah. Who are you? So once we convinced them that it was worthy, and it took a while because, at first we thought we could just fax advertising companies our media kit and they would come and just flood us. And that didn't happen. It didn't happen until I went up to New York face to face with them with my passionate project and say, hey, you guys need to advertise in this. And they did. And we had Fortune 500 companies that joined us back in the 90s. But the reason I started it mainly was because when we did start looking around at parenting magazines, we noticed that at the time, especially, there were really any African-American families on the covers, rarely any Black children. It's gotten better today. But also in addition to that, there are issues that happen in the Black family that are never addressed, like how to do hair, what to do with hair, health issues that are specific to the culture, social justice issues, those sort of things that you will rarely see in a mainstream parenting magazine. Yeah. So we decided to make sure we address all of those things. We never, ever run out of material. It just keeps coming. We have about 90% of our editorial is specific to Black families. We use demographics, we use research studies, and we use experience from people who are in the Black culture to write about our articles and write about the Black family. So that's what we did.
So what kind of content can our viewers find if they were to head over there today? I feel like right now it's a really important time for all of us to be doing our homework, seeing different perspectives. I mean, I encourage all of you to check it out. So what are some of the things they might see if they went over there today?
Well, you'll see articles about everything from how to eat healthy, because we have a lot of fried foods and high blood pressure in the Black family. You'll see things about how to explain the riots and the protests to your children. You will see other issues about hair care. You will see single parenting articles. You will see articles that highlight dads and what dads are doing, because there was a long-going myth about the Black father not being involved, but yet we see from statistics from the CDC that they are one of the most involved of all racial groups, Black fathers. So we wanted to make sure we highlighted them. We have books that are specific that have Black characters as lead characters, because in bookstores, only 10% of books are dedicated to Black children as lead characters. So we have more animal books in bookstores than we have books about Black children. So we wanted to make sure that we have all ages. And I even started a store where they can go and find books from different age groups that have Black characters or Black topics. So that's on our website as well. We also have our podcast on there, which you can join, which is Back Talk, and you can listen to different topics about that. We have Tommy Davidson coming on our podcast in about 2 weeks, and he's from In Living Color, if you guys remember him. So we have a lot.
Remember that show?
Remember that show? It was so good. I miss it so much, but he's coming on to talk about his life when he was growing up. So I'm really excited to talk to him as well. So there's so much content on our website. I highly suggest everyone go look at what's there. And the thing is, even though it's Black parenting, everyone can benefit from it, because you will learn so much that you just did not know, right?
Yeah.
So I encourage people, if you are curious about it, just go check it out. It's very positive. There's nothing negative on there. It's always positive representation. So
there's a great question here from Paul that I want you to see. It says, Janice, as a Black grandparent, what advice do you give to your grandchildren in today's crazy pandemic and divided world? I mean, this is an extraordinary time.
Well, my grandchildren are still very young yet. My oldest is 6. So the main thing right now is difficult for them to understand is social distancing, because they're very social. Even my 3-year-old is very social. So just to explain to them that, hey, at first we just said there was a bad bug out there and you can't go out. You can't have play dates right now. There's a lot of things you're not going to be able to do, but we want you to understand that's why we have to do it, because we don't want you to get sick. And that is still difficult. It is not an easy thing for children to understand. Even if they do understand it, to accept is even more difficult. So we keep explaining to her. For my 3-year-old right now, the biggest deal is to get her not to lick things, so she doesn't get this bad germ. She keeps licking everything. So, and for older teens, it's even harder, because they're at that age where they need to be social. So, that's when the internet and group chats come in, talking to families who have been social distancing. The hard part about that, if you get together with a family who has been actually social distancing, is to really know if they've really been doing it well, right? So they can tell you, oh yeah, we've been really cautious and careful, but it just takes one time and at the wrong place, and anything can happen. So it's kind of scary out here. You never know if people are doing exactly what they say they are. So
Julie is commiserating with you. She said, why do kids lick everything? I mean, exactly. We can all relate to that. Oh my gosh, right. Went flying. Oh,
that's how they learn.
That's how they learn. It's just my plug to my computer. No big deal. If that unplugs, this whole thing goes.
Well, we're still here, so it's good. No,
but that's here. We're still here. We're still standing. I did want to ask you though about, I saw an article. I think it was an article you wrote, or maybe I saw it on the site somewhere. But it was about COVID and how if parents are feeling it, then the kids are definitely feeling it. And I did not realize. I mean, obviously, depression is a something we all deal with. I didn't know that in the Black community that there's a real problem with depression, suicide, bullying among really young kids.
Right. There's a very high suicide rate for children under the age of 11, Black children under the age of 11, before COVID even hit. That was a concern. But because of COVID and social distancing, not being able to see their friends, that's a concern that parents have, especially Black parents, since the rate is so high. And this is a new thing. It was not this high years ago. So this is a new phenomena. And it's a big concern to just keep an eye on your child and start listening. And if you hear any kind of doomsday type of talk from them, like why bother, or it's not worth it, those kind of statements, it should set off an alarm that something's not right. And here's the thing, we're in the middle of COVID. So how do you get your child help from a psychiatrist or psychologist? They have apps now that can do that. So
Yeah.
you can get on the app and you can pay for it, and you can talk together. You can speak to the psychologist or psychiatrist alone. There's so many options to help your child through this.
And guys, that goes for all of us. Any of you out there in the chat struggling, it's a great opportunity. I mean, if you're intimidated to go in and talk in person, you can absolutely do it on the phone or do it on Zoom. So it's a nice time to do that because there's a lot going on. I mean, there's a lot to be, anxious about in the world right now.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to mention, everyone, I said this off the top, but you are an early childhood specialist. Also the founder of Successful Black Parenting Magazine. So you wear your entrepreneur hat and you've got your early childhood hat. So you really, it's great to hear you talking about these different things because you bring a lot of expertise. Did I forget to mention off the top that our friend here is Mrs. New Jersey? I think I forgot to mention it. And it was like one of the things that, is just, like I said, you're such a dynamic person. The deeper I dug, the more I found. So here, that was you at age 49, if I'm correct?
Yes.
And
2015.
Are you still competing in pageants?
I took off for a bit because of the magazine. It takes a lot of my time, and you have to work out. I had to work out every day for at least 3 hours a day. I just don't have that time right now. I would love to have that time again. So I love being in shape. I like working out. Not too many people say that, but I actually do because I always made it fun, like swimming, bike riding, going to the gym for a couple hours. So I really do enjoy it. But yeah, so I'm 53 now. I'll be 54 in December. And the thing about these Mrs. pageants is that you have to compete against women half your age sometimes, or even younger. And there's no category for old women like me. And we have to work twice as hard. So I said we should get credit just for having to wear a bathing suit, right? So that should be like, we should get like some extra credit or something, because we have to work twice as hard to get our bodies in shape for that. And it's worth it though. It's really worth it when you see your final results. It's just very gives you a nice boost in your self-esteem, I should say. So,
I mean, guys, is she doing something right or is she doing something right? Can we get some hearts for Janice? Is this grandma goals or what? I mean,
you know what? I'm the type person, I'm like, I'm not going to let my body morph into grandma body. I'm just not that person. Some people are. I am not that person. I'm like, no growing old gracefully like that for me. I'm going to work hard because I feel like this. You've had your body and your face, right, for almost all of your life. And then all of a sudden, old Father Time comes along and says, boom, here's lots of wrinkles and changing your body. It's not fair.
Damn him.
So why is it so strange? If you're used to seeing yourself as this, of course we know we're going to change, but we can still work at it and do the best we can with what we have. Our body's a temple. Treat it that way. That's how I feel.
Yolanda says, Janice Robinson-Celeste, you look amazing.
Thank you, Yolanda. You're awesome for that.
Retweet. Janice, fabulous 50s.
Yes, fabulous 50s. Yes.
Marcy says, that's wonderful. You do a lot to help others. You certainly don't look your age. Just beautiful. I agree, Marcy. Janice, I want to talk about your girls. So you raised 3 beautiful daughters solo. You were a single parent, and I'm sure that brought its fair share of challenges. Also raising a supermodel daughter. Talk to that. I mean, that's a special genre right there.
It is. We were very blessed. We were very blessed. So yeah, I have 3 girls. They're all very successful, and I'm very proud of every single one of them. My youngest, from the time she was 3, I remember I went to a modeling agency to see if I could do commercial work. And they looked at her at 3 and said, when she gets older, the modeling agency they're going to love her. And I'm like, okay. And who knew that she was going to grow to be 5'10", okay, and super skinny, which is natural. I was super skinny when I was her age at that time, and my mother as well. So it's genetic. But she wanted to be a model. She asked me when we lived in Florida, she said, hey, Mom, I want to do this modeling thing I heard about on the radio. And it was like a modeling, not camp, but like an event where you get together and you go in front of agents and they pick you. She did really good at the first one. The second one, they didn't even see her. They were still writing from the first person that went across the stage. So I became this momager, I call it. And I said, okay, that's it. She can't go again. You guys didn't even see her. And they said, no. So I said, all right, I'm going to take her around myself. And we started in Florida. But if you know anything about the modeling world, Florida is bubblegum and braces type of modeling for teenagers.
What's
right?
that mean?
That means like, cutesy, Nickelodeon type modeling. Yeah, commercial modeling. Except for Miami. Miami is bathing suit, hot girls, right? She wasn't either of those. She was exotic, high-end supermodel material. And
like Vogue, cover
yes,
of Vogue
blue chip. They call it blue chip. So I took a vacation from work and I took her to New York. And she became the number 13 of working models in the world. Working models. Her name is Cecily Lopez. She did really well right out of the bat. She went right to Fashion Week. The first week she was there. She got shot for Italian Vogue right away. And then as she got older, they get older fast in the modeling world. So she got older. Her career started slowing down. And then one of the top photographers in the world picked her for what they called the Black Italian Vogue. And there are certain fashion Bibles, Italian Vogue, French Vogue, New York Vogue. If you're in any of those or on the cover, it can make your career. So she got picked for the cover of Black Italian Vogue along with 3 other models. And they did each a cover. That issue sold out in the United States. Italian Vogue, first time ever, sold out in the United States. Cecily had 33 pages of her by herself inside the issue. And they asked Stephen Meisel, who was the photographer, he also did Madonna's sex book, which is how he got famous. They asked her, I asked him why her, and he told them that she was his muse. And that did it. Her career just shot up. She became an icon. Wow. She's done everything from Victoria's Secret's runway as she got older and became a woman. She did her own things, but she really did well. She was in everything from Harper's Bazaar, every magazine. I would find her when I walked down the mall corridors. I would look up and I would see giant pictures of her in the windows. I would see her on billboards for H&M. She did everything. The only runway she did not do internationally was Chanel and Versace. Wow. So she did everything else. Oscar de la Renta, Diane von Furstenberg. She's done every blue chip runway besides those 2. So well,
you definitely put your money where your mouth was when you started something called Successful Parents Black Parenting Magazine. You have successful children, lots to be proud of. Do you have a proud mom moment that comes to mind?
Just that they always think of family first. And that means a lot to me. Family's everything for us. And the women are very strong in my family. My mother, starting with her as the matriarch, to me, to all the girls, to their children. And now we have some boys in the family finally. So family is everything. And the fact that they put family first every single time means so much to me. All of my girls, the supermodel. I have one as a fashion designer, and my other daughters in the medical field. So every single one of them, and they're such good moms. Only 2 are moms, but they're such good moms. I'm so proud of them. Like, just to watch them together, I'm like, wow, they learned something. They really did, and you can see it.
We've got one last thing to do, and I want you to stick around for it. It's things that kind of caught my eye this week. We're calling it Too Good Not to Share. But before we get to that, I want to see if anyone in the chat has any last questions that we'll circle back to at the very end. My question for you is, for those of us who are still very much in the thick of it, of momming and have with little kids, and now you're on kind of the other side of things as a grandma, any words of wisdom?
Just, and no pressure, they don't forget. They will remind you when they're an adult, hey, you remember when you did this? I didn't like that. And you're like, I can't, I don't know what you're talking about. And they remember everything. So just know that you have the power to influence them for life, whether it's positive or negative. So you have to be careful what you say. Even if you're having a bad day, that bad day can last a lifetime for them. And it might sound minor to you. So just watch what you say. If you're having a bad day or you're having a just something you want to say that you probably shouldn't say, just hold it, take a minute, take a breath, go away, come back, and then say what you need to say in the proper way, because everything you do, everything you say, they're watching and they are remembering. Sorry, no pressure, but it's, and we all make mistakes, right? So that's all you can do. I mean, you can just do your best you can do. And then when they do get older and they come to you, just say, well, I did the best I could do. Yeah. And I apologize if anything hurt you or anything bothered you.
I've made like 5 mistakes just today alone. Okay. All right, so let's get to this segment. I'm calling it Too Good Not to Share. Some things we saw this week that I just had to share with you guys. So we start with a baby announcement. This is the cutest thing ever. We're going to get ready for a big baby boom. So Usain Bolt and Kasai Bennett just announced the birth of their baby girl. All right, she's beautiful. And if that weren't enough, here's the thing. Her name is Olympia Lightning Bolt. So when you're an 8-time Olympic gold medalist and arguably the fastest human on the in the planet, you name your kid Olympia Lightning Bolt. So she's got a lot to live up to.
Absolutely. One of my books that I wrote early on is Pride and Joy. It talks about naming ceremonies and the power of names. Well, that's a powerful name, right? She's definitely got to be fast. She has no choice but to be fast. So there you go. I mean, and they're going to probably trademark her name for products and everything. So they're looking at this as a business opportunity to help their child to thrive in the future.
Good one. She better be fast, though. All right. Absolutely. This next one comes to us from a friend of the show, Chanel Jones. She is, of course, the host of the 3rd hour of the Today Show. She's been on Mom to Mom. We love her here. And this week, she just reminds us that working from home is difficult for everybody.
So now they're doing it virtually. And I was sitting there looking at the clock, knowing that I had to do this. So I'm texting my husband who's in the room. I'm like, hey, you have to come relieve me so that my kid isn't the one.
Oh, there's Uche now.
Is it over?
There's Uche now. Wait, and of course he's got on shorts. Yeah, because he's Uche. That's right. How about you and Lindsay, Craig?
Just sitting in place.
I love live TV.
So he's trying to move me, and I'm like, no, I'm not moving. Oh my God! It's like the old woman in the show.
Yeah, Uche's doing a great job of splitting up the parenting time. Really good, fantastic.
Everybody, go away.
Chanel, I see you. I feel you. For me, if it's not my husband or the kids, it's the dog. And that's like, I don't have anything left for the dog barking. That is where my blood boils. And I really feel her pain working in television, like live.
Well, that's part of parenting. I mean, we need to have some understanding employers because it's part of parenting. Here we're stuck at home. So that's what happens every now and then. And I think it was relatable, like to everyone. It makes you human so that the audience who's watching, they know that, hey, it just doesn't happen to me during a Zoom call. So I think that's great. I love it.
I love seeing the morning shows, shooting from home, and seeing even the late night shows. I think it shows a human side to everybody. And it's just nice to change it up. So I'm into it. Okay, and we're going to end this segment on just this super sweet note. Just take a look at these 2 little guys. This is pure love. No caption needed.
My heart melted. That's great.
My heart. That is Maxwell and Finnegan. And you may have seen some of their videos online, but breaking news, they are now on Instagram. They can be found at Wellegan, Wellegan on Instagram. So if you need a boost, a little endorphin boost at any point in your day, I suggest you go there. It's all happy stuff. Positive vibes. Thank you so much. Does anyone in the chat have any last comments for us before we go? I'll tell you who's on next week, and I'll let Janice go because she's doing 100 million things, as always. Raylene said, good advice. We all remember moments from our childhood that shaped us. I do think that was a great thought. It does make me feel a little agita, but I think it's great. Yeah, Julie says no pressure there. Janice, thank you so much. You were wonderful. Please tell everyone where they can find Black Parenting Magazine online.
Okay, we're at successfulblackparenting.com, and you can find us on social media. We're on Instagram at Successful Black Parenting. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Black Parenting One. So if you go to successfulblackparenting.com, you'll find a lot of content, and you'll also find all of our social media. We also have a YouTube channel, so find us there, and also Ethnic Animations. You can find us on YouTube, and SBP Publishing right from our website as well. So thank you guys for signing in.
It has been so great chatting with you. So nice to meet you. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much.
Next week, same time, same channel, 4 o'clock here on the NECN Facebook page. We are talking we're going to get a little woo-woo. We're talking chakras and energy healing and meditation with Sadie Jane Sabin. She is a self-love advocate, yoga teacher, meditation specialist, energy coach. I think this is good timing for this, guys. It's been a bit of a wild ride. You know what I'm saying? So I love you all for tuning in. Thank you all for your comments. I see that our mom squad is growing, and the way that we do that is by sharing these videos. So if you're so inclined, or if you think you have a friend who might benefit from this video today, please share it on Facebook, spread the word. And we're here every Wednesday at 4 o'clock.